In today's globalized world, it is almost impossible to disregard diversity everywhere we go. Singapore is a great example. Try walking down Orchard Road. Chances are you'll come across people of diverse backgrounds at a stone's throw. This in turn would impact diversity in the workplace, and being able to communicate well is key to building strong interpersonal relationships with our co-workers. Based on cultural theory, what is diversity? Diversity is the variety of experiences and perspectives arising from differences in demographic variables. Therefore, the implication is for organizations to practice strong intercultural communication by eliminating discrimination in their workplace policies. It is also important for organizations to understand the two sets of variables that distinguish culture: individualism versus collectivism. Individualistic cultures stress the importance of individual goals, initiatives, and achievements, while collectivist cultures believe in group goals and nurturing of group influences. High context versus low context. In high context communication, both sender and receiver of the message share something in common. In contrast, low context communication requires both sender and receiver to verbalize agreements openly and directly. Expanding further on cultural theory, organizations must be aware of the presence of ethnocentrism, xenophobia, and stereotyping. Now let's imagine Miss Jane Singham, CEO of automaker Mazda. Even though the company is based in Japan, it serves a global market with international customers, suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors. As such, let us see how Jane recognizes the 8 categories of cultural differences in her daily activities and interaction. Knowing that the most common barrier in intercultural communication is language, and being in Japan, Jane attended language classes in the evening, had her Japanese co-worker interpret on her behalf, keeping her translator close by, using simple English while listening actively and accepting feedback. During overseas business trips, Jane is always mindful of the social norms which varies from culture to culture. As Mazda has its own ethics committee, Jane represented the company through her dealings with honesty and integrity, being non-judgmental, seeking mutual understanding, and respecting cultural differences at all times. On one occasion, Jane received a complaint that her female sales director had unintentionally initiated a handshake with a male Arab client. Being a woman herself, Jane is highly aware that both men and women communicate differently. For example, men emphasize content while women value relationship maintenance. Japan is one country which values age and seniority, hence Jane accepts that longevity earns respect, power, and freedom. As most of her Japanese employees and business associates practice Shinto and Buddhism, Jane follows the superstitions and power of these religions. As the head of the company, Jane distinguishes ability and disability very clearly and acknowledges how these two affect communication in her organization. Question: what could you do to avoid cultural miscommunication in the workplace?